R&R gets you ready for tonight's game. The Shootaround.
It is R&R in the morning. He is Rudy J. If you're watching live, his beard looks great. There he is. And look to your bottom left. She's about 7 o'clock on your viewing screen. Her name is Carolina Teague. She is our Spurs insider. Welcome aboard. Good morning, Carolina. How are you today?
I'm doing good, you guys. How are you guys doing?
What up, CT?
All right, so we get the Warriors in town. Last time we saw them, we beat them, if I'm not mistaken, and they're on the road. What we saw last night was a parable to the young fellas out there. Right. The Warriors go to Houston last night, going to the Toyota Center to take on the Rockets, who are doing everything they possibly can to lose every game. And Kevin Porter Jr. decides, pick a fight to D up, to get into Steph's grill. And Steph proceeded to teach that young man a lesson. He told Kevin Porter Jr., go get your shine box, put 40 on him, and embarrassed him for a quarter and a half. It was the best teaching job I've seen by an NBA star in a long time. I think he made Steph mad last night. Let's hope that doesn't carry over as they come into San Antonio.
I hope not. Let's see how it goes. I'm ready.
Well, Steph, you said before the break, Rob, while poke the bear. Steph may be a bear, but he's a black bear. And what I mean by that is a black bear might let you make it sometimes. Like, Steph is a killer. Like, but black bear will kill you. But he ain't no grizzly. He ain't no grizzly. A black bear might pass by. Black bear may want your pecan pie or your brisket you left out. You know, Steph's been known to let people make it. You know, so I watched Steph in the finals let Kevin Love lock him up. So while he's a bear and he can maul you, he ain't no grizzly.
Well, let's hope.
You know what? When I went to Colorado, I saw a bear for the first time, and it was digging in the trash because we had just seen food the night before. But then when you go outside, the bear runs away. So is that the type of bear that Steph Curry is sometimes?
Ooh,
that's poking it.
You know what?
Don't go there.
Hey, CT. Sometimes he is. Sometimes he is.
I think if
he goes through these spells where it's like he don't look. There's times where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what I'm seeing. And then there's a 2-week span where it's like, damn, he looks like a regular point guard.
Well, last night he looked like the Steph Curry of old, hung 40 and looked good doing it.
Last night he looked like the bear in The Revenant, the mama bear that saw her, the mama bear that thinks her cubs are in danger. He was the Revenant bear last night, but there's times where he's that bear that'll run away.
All kidding aside, we do see the Spurs play the Warriors pretty well. It feels like when Pop and Wright and all the brain trust started thinking about how they're going to retool their roster, they really looked at what Steve Kerr and that group has done over the last 5 years. And it's not like it's, rocket science that they reinvented the wheel, but the fact of the matter is the formula we felt like was what Golden State has done. Find a point guard that can score, spread out the floor, get a bunch of guys that can shoot, get a post that's mobile that can pass a little bit, and go out and play NBA basketball. And we haven't quite found it, though we do understand how to play it. And it seems like Pop gets them ready for Kerr and the Warriors more than any other team. And I do think the Spurs acquitted themselves rather well against the Suns, but for a weird non-travel call for Devin Booker, that might have been a different outcome. I expect this to be a pretty good game tonight.
Yeah. Oh, Rudy, go
ahead. No. I was just on.
Well, I expect it to be a pretty. Carl.
No, you're good.
Know yourself.
There we go. So this is what we got. The starting lineup. I don't know which starting lineup looks better to me. I know that you like Devin Vassell. I'm starting to think Devin Vassell might be better off the bench.
I don't mind him off the bench. I'm an old school player, Rob. I respect the 6-man.
Carolina, what do you like?
CT.
Well, right now, I like him coming off the bench, too. I think the 6-man theory that Rudy J has is a great theory. Plus, I did some notes. Devin Vassell has recently had a small shooting slump. He's normally at 40%, and right now he's at 30%. But what makes up for that is his defense. And there's a great article that came out recently on Pounding the Rock where he's talking about his defense, and he's saying that, in college, the only way he was able to play is if he played great defense. So he feels that's a big piece of why he is who he is. And I think him coming off as the sixth man and being able to be a great defender is where he should be at right now. So
I think eventually he will be the starter. I don't have any. I mean, he's playing himself into it. But right now, when McDermott is playing, there is the threat of him taking the three, the likes of which Keldon doesn't get that kind of threat, and it just looks like the offense is a bit more open. But I'll qualify that with if McDermott is not. If he's in a situation where defense is a problem, because he's nothing close to Devin, that I can understand why you would make that decision. But if the offensive part of the basketball equation for the Spurs is more important, and I think it kind of is, because the defense tends to be there regardless because of the guys playing. I err on the side of McDermott just because I feel like there's just a little bit more offense there. Now, as we know ourselves, it looks like DeJounte, Derek, the double Ds, as I call him, and we'll add a third. Devin Vassell will start again. Keldon Johnson and Jakob Poeltl, it is the usual suspects. But I do like the idea of seeing a little bit more McDermott early and a little bit more Devin Vassell late.
Well, go ahead, Carolina.
I mean, I like seeing Doug McDermott as well. I mean, the last game against the Suns, he was consistent with his shooting throughout the entire game. Keldon Johnson he scored only 3 points in the first half, and that was like within a minute leading into the second half. So he was 0 points throughout the first and pretty much all of the second quarter. And then he came back in the final half of the game and ended up scoring 16 points. But Doug McDermott was consistent throughout the game. So I think if you need a consistent shooter right now for the Spurs, Doug McDermott, Dougie McBuckets, as we all like to call him, he's the way to go. So I like the idea of Doug McDermott starting. He's a great shooter. And with the combination of Keldon Johnson put together, they're both shooting at 40% from the three-point line at the moment. So I think that's a good thing good tactic to utilize with the Warriors. The Warriors are one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league. And when you're going up against a guy like Steph, who I think is considered unguardable, he's on my unguardable category. You have Michael Jordan, you have Kobe, and you have Allen Iverson. When he's on point, I think he's unguardable. So you don't want him to get a hot streak and be lacking on the offensive end of the ball.
Know your enemy.
Well, the enemy is unique in that the Warriors arrive with one of the biggest stars coming off the bench, and it's just a matter of how we're going to see him, Klay Thompson, not starting. We do expect to see tonight Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, and Kayvon Looney as your starting five. But we do know the Warriors, they run 10 guys at you pretty consistently.
And knowing your enemy tonight, Rob, is a situation where you got to play defense for 24 seconds. There's not a lot of nights in the NBA where you have to do that, because we play in this league where it's like you get up as many shots as possible, in a little amount of time as possible. But with the Warriors, I'm not saying it's the 2014 Spurs, but they don't have a problem making 6-7 passes per possession, and they're going to move you, and they're going to set screens, and they're going to do back cuts, and it's almost like overwhelming, for a defense. And then going back to you guys' conversation about McDermott or Vassell, well, with the Spurs, since Bruce and Tim have been gone, they rely on team defense. So it's never going to just be like McDermott's on the island. It's going to be help from weak side, help at the rim. So when the Spurs are winning games, this particular team, it's because they played well as a team defensively. And that's the kind of effort it's going to take tonight against Golden State, because they do such a great job of moving the ball and getting shooters open.
We said last night Steph Curry went for 40. He played 38 minutes. Let's hope he got that out of his system and falls back to what he'd been doing for the last couple of weeks. Was averaging about 20. But keep in mind, he has kind of stepped back and allowed Klay Thompson to get his feet underneath him and start playing a little bit.
That's a good point, Rob.
And last night we saw Klay get 26 minutes, 14 points in an outing where we're seeing more and more minutes. And you get awfully afraid of what you see coming with Golden State. And as we're about to pronounce the Lakers dead, I think we need to remember that the Warriors are just now starting to find their five and get everybody in place for a nice little run here. Let's hope we can forestall that. Not going to be easy tonight. Let's see how everybody's feeling tonight. Let's check our...
Inside the training room.
I hurt myself today.
Well, as we said, no significant injuries. We are rounding into rather as good a condition as the Spurs have seen all season, if not in the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they look great right now. The only people, I think Zach Collins has been recalled from the G League. Devontae Kaycock's the only person who's out. The report that is confusing me is I've seen several reports that because Klay Thompson is on a minutes restriction, that he might not play today.
Yeah.
And I keep hearing that if he's not playing today, I think the Spurs have a better chance of winning.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm kind of like greedy when I say that, because like you would think that
you want to see him.
Yeah, you want to see him and you want to see the team go up against the best players.
Right.
But I think it's a little selfish that I kind of want to see the Warriors play without Klay Thompson. I hope he's not, permanently injured or anything crazy like that, but just sit out this one game. I think Steve Kerr needs to make a decision, sit him out just this one time, because I think the Spurs need to come back just a little bit.
Well, keep in mind, Pop sat a few guys. We had a couple starters sit out the other night in prep for a home run. I do think Pop feels that this team is healthy and playing pretty well. You see it in practice, I'm sure. And a little bit of rest, you get the Warriors, you get 3 home games in a row. Feel good about yourself before you hit the road. I'm going to stick by it until I'm proven otherwise. That February is going to be a good month for the Spurs. That I think at the end of February, we're going to have a really good idea of where we're headed next year, because we're finally going to have the full contingent of the guys that they hope to see back in October. Because once we get Collins in, we can put him in that role that we've been wanting to see, and it'll allow Pirtle to do a little bit more of the stuff that made him successful. And Pirtle has had a great year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and a little bit of breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. You see how I did that? I didn't just say guys. I'm trying to be politically correct in 2022. Via his Instagram, Tom Brady has officially retired.
Let him twist just for 24 hours. We'll hit that as we get closer. Shefty can.
Schefter was there.
It's not a fluke this time.
No. We good this time. So are you gonna be in the
I
building tonight?
She is going to be in the building today with Michael Jimenez live and in studio.
Oh, yeah.
It is
She's in
Tuesdays with Teague. We're excited about this. She'll be in the building today. And, of course, yes, she will be our embed reporter at the game tonight as the Warriors do come to town and the Spurs get an opportunity to take on one of the better teams in the West.
Is that what y'all calling it? Tuesdays with Teague?
It's Tuesdays with Teague.
I like it.
We're thinking Teague on. I actually never told Michael, but I like Teague on the league or Tuesdays with Teague. So I don't know what I want to go with yet, but I like Tuesdays with Teague. Kind of, it's easier to flow off my tongue because I kind of have a list a little bit because my tongue is a little fat. So I think Tuesdays with Teague just helps me talk a little bit better.
See, I just like a woman. Just like a woman making decisions for that man, and
no kidding.
Ran it by him. They ain't even ran it by him.
Take the ball and run.
Probably did. But we're gonna have fun today. I'm gonna be in studio. I'm gonna get all dolled up, go over there. We're just gonna have a good time, and I'm happy to be on with Michael today, Tuesdays with Teague. So if you guys want some more of me, we're gonna be a little bit more relaxed. During
what is it called? What's it, Rudy? It's sports.
It's
culture. And nostalgia.
He loves saying nostalgia.
SPN.
He thinks it makes him sound smart by saying nostalgia. He loves that.
SPN. That's today at halftime, and Carolina will be in for Tuesdays with Teague. She is our Spurs in bed. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you on Thursday when the Spurs get back in the. No, we got a back-to-back. Well, she'll be back in with us tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by, Carolina. We'll see you in a bit.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Carolina Teague in the building.